Oh my God, the internet is ending. What are we going to do? What about the internet?
Free internet. Fuck the FTC because they don't exist. They're a conspiracy. Blah, 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 blah.
Shut the fuck up!
If you're worried about the end of the internet, I'm going to need you to calm your fucking tits! Whilst I calmly explain why net neutrality is not the only safety net for the internet and how people have completely forgotten about the 2000s and the Federal Trade Commissions. Now, before I start this video, I need to give a shout out to Troy Levitt, who did most of the groundwork for the research that this video features. I also did my own research, but most of this video is going to be focusing on the research that Troy Levitt did. But anyway, let's get started. Let me just preface this by saying that I don't know enough about net neutrality to be for it or against it. I only know enough about net neutrality to say that net neutrality is a redundancy, because the FTC, or the Federal Trade Commission, has been taking care of the internet and keeping it open and free since its inception. And yeah, you know that list of net neutrality violations that every net neutrality advocate shows in your face whenever they want to prove that we need net neutrality? Yeah, those violations were quickly squashed by the FTC. Let me read off just a few of the examples. In 2005, North Carolina ISP Madison River Communications blocked the voice-over internet protocol known as Vonage. Madison River was a small rural telco with 40,000 DSL customers and a massive debt of some $500 million. Following an upgrade of its infrastructure to support DSL, it did in fact block access to Vonage and other competing telephone services in order to ensure the cash flow to pay for the upgrade. So yes, this happened. A similar tactic was employed by Korea Telecom in 2006 when it upgraded its copper infrastructure to fiber. Korea's telecom action was perfectly legal as it was permitted by legislation to block foreign VoIP services that didn't comply with its telecommunications law. In the US, this would be the equivalent to blocking services like Skype that don't pay into the Universal Service Fund, support 911, or comply with other conditions that apply to telephone services of other kinds. Hence, this is more a question of regulatory compliance with the terms and conditions of telecom service than of internet freedom. But this doesn't protect Madison River, however, as the FCC forced Madison River to sign a consent decree, pay a $15,000 fine, a permit to Vonage to operate on its network. This result took place before the U.S. had any formal net neutrality regulations, but it could have been achieved under either of the two open internet orders or under the conditions of the USF subsidy payments. The FCC had Madison River over a barrel because the company lacked the funds to mount a meaningful legal defense. The company is now owned by CenturyLink, a carrier that complies with net neutrality as a matter of policy. Also in 2005, the nation's largest ISP, Comcast, began secretly blocking peer-to-peer technologies that its customers were using over its network. In 2007, net neutrality advocates learned that some users of the BitTorrent peer-to-peer file sharing program experienced slow uploads when BitTorrent was not also downloading files. This was visible to users of modern programs such as Wireshark because Comcast used a peculiar technique, TCP reset spoofing, to disconnect downloaders from Comcast customers. The impact is that users of piracy networks are now limited to downloading no more data than they upload. It's necessary for them to earn download credits by making files available to others by seeding, uploading files to others. Legitimate uses of BitTorrent, such as making Linux available, do not typically have a download credit system. Overall, the practice had more impact on unlawful users than on legitimate ones, but it did shift the upload burden to other ISPs. Fortunately, by the time the FCC issued its order in October of 2008, Comcast had discontinued the practice, which was a stopgap meant to prevent BitTorrent users from interfering with Vonage users. Following the FCC controversy, BitTorrent designed and implemented LEDBAT, a means of self-limiting its bandwidth when other applications are active. And for a time, Comcast implemented a fair share system that enabled it to limit heavy usage during periods of congestion in a protocol-agnostic way. The details of LEDBAT and fair share were published in Internet RFCs. And there's tons more. I could be here all day reading this entire list to you, but I prefer to keep my videos short and concise. If you want to continue reading, the source will be in the description below. But let's just assume that source didn't exist for the sake of argument. Let's just assume that net neutrality is needed in America. And let's just assume that you are in a monopolized area for Comcast, Spectrum, or whatever internet provider of your choice. If these ISPs were to engage in these dishonest business practices, that would be considered racketeering, and many internet-based companies on top of consumers could file a class action lawsuit against this ISP. So in short,
your internet is fine! Quit crying about it!
Net neutrality is not the only thing protecting a free and open internet. If you're knowledgeable about law, you would know this. So calm your tits, your memes are safe, your live gaming is safe, your gay porn is safe, faggot, and overall, the internet is safe. And if you suspect any wrongdoing from your ISPs, call the FTC. This is Revenge, and I hope to hear from you soon.
What